Okay, get ready for a story that sounds like it's straight out of a legend, but it's actually grounded in a documented family tree. Today, we are going to unpack the pretty incredible claim of a modern-day heir to none other than King Arthur. We're about to trace a single bloodline through an epic 1,500-year journey.
So let me just start by asking you this. What if the bloodline of a king from legend, the guy with the round table and Camelot, what if that bloodline didn't just end in the Dark Ages? What if it kept going, quietly, through all of history?
Well, that's exactly the journey we're going on. We are going to follow one single family tree through this massive 1,500-year adventure. It's going to wind its way through the thrones of Europe, the crazy drama of the Tudor court, and all the way to a person who is alive right now in the 21st century.
All right, so where do we even begin? With the legend himself, of course. We're starting with the Arthurian foundation, tracing the very first links in this unbelievable chain, from a specific historical interpretation right into the established line of Scottish kings. So, according to the genealogy we're following, this whole thing kicks off with a historical figure named Arthur mac Agadan. He was a prince in the Scottish kingdom of Dal Riata, way back in the 6th century. This is our ground zero, the anchor point for the entire 1,500-year story we're about to tell. So how does the line actually get started? Well, from this Arthur, it connects directly into the early Gaelic kingdom of Dal Riata. We see a clear line of succession, right from Aidan mac Gabrain, down through his son Eochaid, to Donald the Speckled, and then to Domangart. These are the first few generations, and they establish a solid royal foundation in what we now call Scotland. And believe me, this royal line wasn't just a flash in the pan. It holds strong. As we jump forward in time, the lineage flows directly into some of the most famous names in early Scottish history. From King Alpin, it passes to his son, Kenneth MacAlpin I, the guy often called the founder of Scotland. And it just keeps going, down through kings named Donald and Malcolm. For centuries, this bloodline was the Scottish crown.
But here's where things get really interesting. This story isn't just about Scotland. Not by a long shot. The family tree is about to explode across the continent, kicking off a truly international royal tour.
Through a really critical marriage, the lineage makes its first big jump, leaving the shores of Scotland behind for good.
It hops right across the English Channel and connects into one of the most powerful and ambitious families of the time, the Normans.
And from there, the bloodline just sweeps south, weaving its way through the powerful royal courts of Castile and then Portugal. Okay, so how on earth did that happen? Well, it all comes down to one person, Matilda of Scotland. She was a direct descendant of that early Scottish line, and she marries Henry I of England. Yeah, the son of William the Conqueror. This was a massive political deal, linking the ancient Scottish crown to the new Norman power in England. And just like that, this one marriage connected the bloodline to the Dukes of Normandy, and from there, other marriages tied it right to the thrones of Castile and Portugal.
So after this huge European tour, you might think the story's over. Nope. The bloodline takes this incredible U-turn. Generations later, thanks to another strategic royal marriage, the line that started in Scotland makes its way back across the Channel, and this time it's heading straight for the English throne all over again.
And this brings us to what is, honestly, probably the most famous and, let's face it, chaotic part of this entire family tree. We have arrived at the Tudor intersection, where this ancient lineage puts itself smack dab in the middle of English history.
So what's the path back to England? It all starts with Isabella of Castile, who is a descendant from that Portuguese line we just talked about. She marries Edmund, Duke of York, whose father was the seriously powerful King Edward III. This plugs our line right into his other famous son, John of Gaunt, the head of the House of Lancaster, and that, in turn, leads to his son, King Henry IV, the very first Lancastrian king. And from that point on, it's a straight shot. The line goes through the legendary hero king, Henry V. Now, after he dies, his wife, Catherine of Valois, has a son named Edmund Tudor. Edmund's son becomes King Henry VII, the first Tudor king. And his son is, of course, the infamous King Henry VIII. But here is the crucial bit. The lineage doesn't stop with him. It connects directly to his third wife, Queen Jane Seymour. Now this right here is a huge turning point. You gotta pay attention to this. After centuries of passing through kings and ruling monarchs, the main line of descent, it shifts. It no longer continues through Henry VIII's kids. Instead, it flows through the noble family of his queen, Jane Seymour.
This pivot away from the throne really kicks off the final act of our story. We're now going to follow the path from the absolute top of the nobility through a bunch of name changes all the way to today.
I mean, just look at this. The change is just staggering. The lineage passes from these famous noble families like Seymour, Wentworth, and Darcy to common family names, names like Laurie, Reed, Mackey, and eventually Wise. It's a total shift from public, titled history to private family history.
And we can actually pinpoint the exact moment this all starts to change. The son of Sir Thomas Darcy, a Knight of the Garter, a big deal at court, is recorded not as Darcy, but as Joan Lowery, or Laurie. This is it. This is the moment the name and the family status begins this incredible transformation.
And for the next 10 generations, think about that, 10 whole generations, the line just goes quiet. It gets passed down away from the spotlight of the throne, flowing through families named Laurie, Reed, Mackey, Wilson, and Beveridge. You know, ordinary people carrying this absolutely extraordinary legacy.
And then, suddenly, we're in the home stretch. It's like history hits the fast-forward button. From Isabella Beveridge, born in 1846, the line moves super fast through just 4 more generations, through the harrower name, and then to Wise, bringing us right into the modern era.
And that's it. After a journey of more than 1.5 millennia, through Scottish kings, Norman dukes, Spanish monarchs, and Tudor queens, this incredible, documented lineage arrives at a single living person, L. Samantha Wise.
You know, tracing this single thread from a legendary king all the way to a person today is just kind of mind-blowing. It really proves that history isn't just something in dusty old books. It's a story that's flowing through every single one of us. Which really leaves just one last question to think about. What kind of epic stories are hidden in your family tree?